Today, we're going deep underground to discover the home of an infamous legend of Somerset. Welcome to Wookey Hole Caves. Now, as much as I'd love the infamous legend to be Chewbacca, Wookey Hole is an actual village located near the city of Wells, and the caves that we're exploring, well, they're a big part of the family-owned tourist attraction, which first opened to the public in the 1920s. Now, there are 8 beautiful cave chambers to explore down there, and the only way to get to them is by this staircase. It's been nicknamed as Hell's Ladder by the locals because legend has it, if you went down there, you didn't come back up. What's the worst that could happen, honestly? And each cave has its own story to tell. The Witch's Parlour, for example, this is where the first ever successful cave dive took place in Great Britain back in 1935, when Graham Balcombe and local girl Penelope Powell dived 170 feet into the caves, discovering Chamber 7 and thus leading to many others being uncovered years later. The most recent of which being in 2015. That's Chamber 20. Other show caves include the Cathedral Chamber, the Great Hall, and the Witch's Kitchen. But how do caves like this come to exist in the first place?
So here we are, we're standing in what is called the Witch's Kitchen. Behind me, here we have the river. This is called the River Axe. Now, the River Axe is what made the caves here at Wookey Hole. The river started 1 million years ago, round about 3 miles from here. Water dissolving limestone, the limestone in the rock around us. And from excavations of the caves here at Wookey Hole, it is believed that people, including Neanderthal 50,000 years ago, lived and used the caves here. 30,000 years ago, we have people sheltering in the entranceway. And close to 2,000 years ago, we had Romans here. They were mining lead on top of the Mendip Hills, not far from here. So many people and animals have used Wookey Hole as a place of shelter over many, many years.
Now, my favourite chamber has to be this one, Chamber 2, also known as the Great Hall. And you can see just how it got its name. It's a vast, echoey space with a ceiling that towers 75 feet above your head. But it also has a chilling secret that's very easy to miss. Now, one of the interesting features of this Great Hall is the dark brooding chasm above my head, which got its nickname as the Chimney. Now, local people who lived here in the cave, as you may remember Neil said, were genuinely terrified of this chimney because they thought that spirits, evil spirits, would use it as a gateway to come down into the cave itself. And what they would do in order to ward off these evil spirits and stop them coming down the chimney is that they would carve little markings into these walls themselves, into the rock. They would carve initials like VM for Virgin Mary or J for Jesus, these divine names that would stop these evil spirits from coming down the chimney. And these markings became known as witch markings. And speaking of which, shall we turn the lights off and tell you the story of a real legend? The story of the Wookey Witch goes back around 1,000 years, when villagers became nervous about a woman living alone in these caves. Suspicious too, as they would blame all of the villagers' misfortunes on her being a witch. Crops failing, animals dying. So, they recruited the help of Father Bernard, a monk who was sent by the then Abbot of Glastonbury to deal with said witch. But after refusing to leave and arguing with this priest, the witch fled deep into the caves, prompting the monk to follow. Now, after chasing the witch through the caves, Father Bernard got to this point here, which is now known as the Witch's Kitchen. And he didn't know where the witch was hiding, so what he did, to be better safe than sorry, was he took his chalice, he filled it up from the River Axe, which is just over there, and he blessed the water in it, turned it to holy water, and he sprinkled said holy water all around this cave. But in doing so, he heard the most blood-curdling scream that he'd ever heard in his life. And as he raised his candle to where the scream came from, he saw that the witch had been turned to stone. And here she has remained ever since. Would you like to pay her a visit sometime? See you next time.